What would you do if everything changed tomorrow? Not gradually, not predictably, but instantly. Power outages, supply disruptions, communication breakdowns. That's the reality millions face during wartime, and the truth is the modern world is not immune to sudden disruption. We rely on systems, we trust stability, but history teaches us something important. Stability can disappear faster than you think, and when it does, the people who adapt are the ones who stay in control. In this video, we're breaking down wartime adaptation in modern times. The real-world lessons from history that can help you think faster, act smarter, and stay prepared, no matter what changes around you. The core principle is, adaptability is survival. During wartime, people didn't have the luxury of waiting around. They had to adjust quickly, make decisions with limited information, and use whatever resources were available. Adaptability wasn't really optional. It was survival. And today, that same principle still applies, because modern life might feel stable, but honestly, it's built on systems that can fail. Lesson 1. Accept reality immediately. You know, the biggest mistake folks make when sudden change hits? Denial. Wartime survivors didn't waste time wishing things were different. They accepted that conditions had changed, that old routines no longer worked, and new strategies were required. Acceptance leads to action, while delay, that leads to failure. Lesson 2. Simplify your life. When systems break down, complexity just becomes a weakness. During wartime, people reduced unnecessary tasks, focused only on essentials, and eliminated waste. In modern times, simplifying means reducing dependence on fragile systems, prioritizing what truly matters, and removing unnecessary complications. Simplicity, in the end, increases resilience. Lesson 3. Learn to operate with less. Wartime conditions, forced people to survive with limited resources. They used less food, conserved energy, and really reduced consumption. Today, many people are used to abundance. But adaptation requires discipline, efficiency, and an awareness of limits. The less you depend on excess, the stronger you become. Lesson 4. Build practical skills. In wartime, skills replace convenience. People learn to repair items, build basic shelter, cook with minimal tools, and solve problems manually. Modern adaptation, honestly, requires the same shift. Because when systems fail, skills replace services, and knowledge replaces convenience. Lesson 5. Stay mentally flexible. Rigid thinking fails in changing conditions. Wartime survivors adjusted plans constantly, changed strategies when needed, and stayed open to new solutions. Flexibility allows you to respond faster, avoid unnecessary losses, and, improve outcomes. Lesson 6. Control what you can. During chaos, not everything is within your control. But, some things are your actions, your decisions, and your mindset. Wartime survivors focused on what they could influence. This approach reduced stress and, honestly, improved effectiveness. Lesson 7. Develop situational awareness. Awareness is, a survival advantage. During wartime, people paid close attention to changes in their environment, the movement of others, and resource availability. In modern times, awareness means staying informed, observing patterns, and anticipating changes. Awareness allows for early action. Lesson 8. Build redundancy. Wartime taught a hard lesson. Never rely on one solution. People develop backups for food, water, tools, and communication. Modern adaptation requires the same, because when one system fails, another must take its place. Lesson 9. Strengthen your mindset. You know, fear is natural, but if left unchecked, uncontrolled fear leads to poor decisions. Wartime survivors, well, they stayed calm under pressure. They focused on solutions and managed stress effectively. Mental strength, in the end, allows for clear thinking. Lesson 10. Use resources efficiently. Waste was simply not an option. Everything had value. People reused materials, repaired items, and conserved supplies. Modern adaptation, honestly, it requires similar discipline. Efficiency, after all, extends survival. Lesson 11. Stay physically capable. Your body is, without a doubt, your most important tool. During wartime, physical endurance really mattered. Strength supported survival, and mobility improved safety. Modern adaptation requires regular activity, strength maintenance, and of course energy management. Lesson 12. Plan for uncertainty. Wartime conditions were, well, unpredictable. People learned to expect change, prepare for multiple outcomes, and stay ready to adjust. Modern life may feel predictable, but uncertainty remains. Planning for it really does increase resilience. Lesson 13. Maintain routine under stress. Routine creates stability. During wartime, daily habits provided structure. Consistency improved morale, and discipline supported survival. In modern times, routines reduce chaos, improve focus, and help maintain control. Lesson 14. Work with others. Isolation increases risk, you know. Wartime survival often depended on cooperation. People shared knowledge, supported each other, and worked together. Modern adaptation benefits from strong networks, reliable relationships, and shared resources. Lesson 15. Think long-term. Survival isn't just about today, you know. Wartime survivors thought ahead and conserved resources. They planned for future needs and, well, avoided short-term mistakes. Modern adaptation, honestly, requires long-term thinking. Lesson 16. Stay resourceful. Resourcefulness is, basically, the ability to find solutions. During wartime, people improvised constantly. They found new uses for old items and solved problems creatively. Modern adaptation really does demand the same mindset. Lesson 17. Avoid dependency. The more you depend on systems, the more vulnerable you become. Wartime survivors reduced dependency by learning skills, building self-reliance, and preparing alternatives. Modern resilience, in truth, comes from independence. Lesson 18. Act early. You know, waiting increases risk. Wartime survivors acted before shortages worsened, before conditions deteriorated, and before options disappeared. Early action, well, it really does improve outcomes. Lesson 19. Stay disciplined. Adaptation, it requires discipline. Without it, plans fail, resources are wasted, and opportunities are lost. Discipline, in the end, ensures consistency. Lesson 20. Never stop learning. Conditions change, and new challenges emerge. Wartime survivors learned continuously. Modern adaptation, honestly, requires ongoing learning. So, applying these lessons today, well, let's bring this into modern reality. You don't need a wartime scenario to benefit from these principles, not at all. You can apply them now. Simplify your daily life, build essential skills, maintain physical readiness, strengthen your mindset, prepare backups, and, of course, stay aware. Small steps, really, are what create strong foundations. So, let's consider a practical example for a moment. Imagine this. There's a sudden disruption that affects, well, power, supply chains, and communication. What happens next? Well, unprepared individuals, they panic, they struggle, and honestly, they react too late. But those who are prepared, they assess quickly, use their backups, and adapt effectively. The difference here, it's not luck. It's all about preparation and mindset. Now, let's talk about the adaptation mindset. At its core, wartime adaptation is really about one thing: control. Not control over everything, of course, but control over your response. Because, you simply can't predict every situation, but you can absolutely prepare your mindset. All right, bringing it all together now. Here are the key principles of wartime adaptation in modern times. Accept reality quickly. Simplify your life. Operate with less. Build practical skills. Stay mentally flexible. Control what you can. Maintain awareness. Build redundancy. Strengthen your mindset. Use resources efficiently. Stay physically capable. Plan for uncertainty. Maintain routine. Work with others. Think long-term. Stay resourceful. Avoid dependency. Act early. Stay disciplined. And keep learning. So, just a few final thoughts. Wartime forced people to adapt, but modern life actually gives you the opportunity to prepare. That's the real difference. You don't have to wait for disruption. You can build resilience now. Because when change comes, and it will in some form, the people who adapt the fastest are the ones who stay ahead. So train your mind, build your skills, and strengthen your habits. Because in the end, survival is not about avoiding change. It's about mastering it.